नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं वाचं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् जितं ते पुण्डरीकाक्ष नमस्ते विश्वभावना नमस्तेस्तु हृषीकेश महापुरुषपूर्वज सदक्षरं ब्रह्म य ईश्वरः पुमान् गुणोर्मि सृष्टिस्थितिकालसल्लयः प्रधानबुद्ध्यादिजगत्प्रपञ्चसूः सनोऽस्तु विष्णुर्मतिभूतिमुक्तिदः. We're starting with the fourth Amsha today. Let's look at some of the contents here. So it is Vamsha Varnanam is the main topic in this fourth Amsha. There are totally 24 Adhyayas. Yeah, there are totally 24 Adhyayas in this. Generally, it is Vamsha Varnana along with the small stories which may be relevant. Some of the characters will be taken up and the short stories would be mentioned. Like for example, in the first Adhyaya itself, it's the Varnanam of Vaivasvata Manu's Vamsha. So it'll be an enlisting of people. This person was the king after this person. It'll just be a continuous list of people. So a common question that people would ask is, how do we remember all of these things? We are not Parāśara, we are not Maitreya or Vyasa for us to remember all of those names. This has been Vamsha Kirtanam usually is a kind of a punya that when we read it, at least we may not have the Shakti, the power to understand all of this, but at least when we read it, there is a kind of a punyam vishesham associated with that, and we will derive from the Parayanam. That is, we'll derive punyam from the Parayanam. So that is why there is a list of all of the kings who were born, one after the other. And they will pick out one particular king, and maybe a popular story would be associated with that person. And so he would describe that particular king's story alone. So the second one has Ikshvaku Vamsha Kathanam, Saubhari Charitram. The third Adhyaya, Mandhata and Trishanku Swargarohanam. Many small nice stories that you will have in this. Sagarādirāඥāṁ Charitram. So of course, Bhagīratena Gangayaha Utpattihi api tatraiva varnita vartate. So fifth, you have Nimi Chakravarti and Sita's Utpatti. The sixth Adhyaya has Chandravamsha Kathanam. You have Pururavas, Yayati Charitam, Yaduvamsha, and then you go to Krishna, right? So as a precursor to all of that, you have Pururavas Janhu Maharishi, and then Kashyapa Vamsha, Raji. So Rajehe Vamsha Kathanam. So Raji is another king. Then you have Yayati. From Yayati you had Yadu. Yadu Maharaja gave birth to many sons, and from there it was a big lineage in which Krishna was also born. Syamantakamani Vrittantam, where Krishna Charitam and along with the Syamantakamani would be described. Anamitra Andhaka Yoho, Anamitra and Andhaka, both of their Vamsha are also described. Andhaka is one Yadu Vamsha. So Yadu Vamsha has many branches like Vrishni, Andhaka, Bhoja. These are all different branches of the Yadava Vamsha. Then Shishupala's story. You have Purvajanma Vrittantam and Vasudevasya Putranam Varnanam. You have Turva, Druhi, Anuvamsha, Puruvamsha, Kuruvamsha. These are all the different lineage of kings who were born on this earth and who have ruled this earth. He is also going to describe the Bhavikalina, those who are going to come later after Parāśara, the Ikshvaku Vamsha kings who are going to come later, Magadha Vamsha. This is with respect to Parāśara's timeline. Magadha Vamsha is past for us, but it would be future for Parāśara and Maitreya. So the Magadha Vamsha Varnanam would also be there, and then Kalikala Rajñam Varnanam, Kali Dharmaha. With this, you have the 24 Adhyayas of 4th Amsha, which we will go about. Now, Sridhara Swami has written this Atma Prakasha Vyakhyanam, and the first shloka usually gives a summary of what is there in the Amsha. Bhagavatam, the way he addresses in his Bhagavata Puranam Vyakhyanam, he gives a summary of each and every Adhyaya in the form of one Anushtup or two Anushtup Slokas, which is, when you combine the whole thing, it's like a summary of Bhagavatam itself. So for every Adhyaya, he gives a Shloka. Here, he gives this Shloka as a summary of the entire Chaturthamsha. Dharma upadharmayoho parvam uktayoho anuvarnyate manuvamshas chaturthamshe pravartaka nivartakaha. So Chaturthamshe in the fourth Amsha or book, Manuvamshaha pravarta uktayoho dharma upadharmayoho pravartaka nivartakaha manuvamshaha anuvarnyate. So Purvam Muktaha. I was wondering what mistake I did here. Purvam Uktayoho Dharma Upadharmayoho. Purvam Nama Trishu Amsheshu Uktayoho Dharma Upadharmayoho. He has described the Dharma in the earlier three Amshas. Of course, the third Amsha carried much more stress on Dharma, Shraddha Dharma, Samskaras and everything. So, Dharma and Upadharma, any other subsidiary attachments that you can have, like a dharma that will go hand in hand with the dharma, like Shraddha Dharma. So the Atiti Dharma are all Upadharmas. So these have also been Purvam Uktayoho, those which have been described before. Tesham Tayoho Dharma Upadharmayoho Pravartakaha Nivartakaha Manuvamshaha. Manuvamsha becomes the Vamsha or the set of kings who ensure that this dharma is being carried out properly, and nivartakaha, they also ensure that adharma is being stopped. So that lineage of kings is being described in this fourth Amsha. So this is the summary of Sridhara Swami. Now let's go to the first Adhyaya. Atha Chaturtamshe Prathamodhyayah Vaivasvatamanu Varnanam. We also have a small story of how Balarama married Revati at the end of this Adhyaya. So until then, it is only a continuous list of kings here. Maitreya Uvacha Bhagavan yen naraih karyam sadhu karmani avasthitaihi yen mahyam guruna akyatham nitya naimittikatmakam. हे भगवन् वर्णधर्माः तथा आख्याताः धर्मा ये च आश्रमेषु च श्रोतुमिच्छामि अहं वंशं राज्ञां तद् ब्रूहि मे गुरो. हे भगवन्, हे Guru. Maitreya is addressing his Guru Parāśara here. Yat naraihi karyam, that which has to be done by people. Yat karyam, kartavyam yat vartate naraihi manushyahi. Sadhu karmani avasthitaihi naraihi. Sorry. That which has to be definitely done as a necessary thing or dharma by people who are avasthita, who have established themselves well in doing good work. Sadhu karma here refers to people who want to do dharma, who are involved in doing dharma. So sadhu karmani avasthitaha ye naraha vartante taihi yat karyam vartate tat guruna akyatam eva. So the work that has to be definitely done by people who want to keep themselves in the process of doing good things. So sadhu karmani avasthitaihi naraihi eva yat karyam tat nitya naimittikatmakam guruna akhyatam. You have told me earlier about the work that has to be done by people, which is nitya karma, which is of the swarupam, nitya atmakam naimittika atmakam. So nityatmakam nama nitya swarupa yuktam karyam, tathaiva naimittika swarupa yuktam karyam. So that which is of a nature of daily duty, and that which is of the nature of naimittika duty. Naimittika reference to If it is this particular day, then this is what you have to do. If you have to do. If somebody dies, then this is what you have to do. If somebody wants to get married, then these are the actions that have to be performed. So there is a nimitta or a hetu, a cause for certain actions. So those are called naimittika karma, and nitya karma is something you have to do every day. This, you have described this very well to me in the earlier Amsha. Varna dharmaha tatha akhyataha, and varnashrama dharmas also. So ashrameshu cha ye dharmaha. Varnaha are brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, shudra. Ashrama are brahmacharya, grahastha, vanaprastha and sannyasa ashrama. The dharmas that have to be followed in these stages of life or by these set of people. That also akhyataha, you have told me about those two. Adhuna he guru aham Ragnyam Vamsham Shrotum Ichchami. I wish to know about the lineage of kings. Tad bruhime. So tell me about that. Okay. Shri Parāśara Uvacha. Now, from this section, Gadyam portion starts. In most Puranas, you will have both Padyam and Gadyam. Gadyam will start somewhere in the middle where there is a Vamshavali Varnana. I think when you want to describe the Vamshavali and you want to just keep on listing the number of kings and everybody, it is difficult to maintain the meter here. So it's easier to continuously say it in the form of a Gadyam. So Gadyam is a must in Puranas, or it is evident in Puranas, I should say. A lot of people use this lot of Puranas use this method of expression, especially during the Vamshavali Varnana. Now, the numbering of Gadya is totally random in different books. If you find Gadya Kavyams, there are no numberings at all. It is up to the reader, it is up to the author, it is up to the publisher, it is up to the editor to put in numberings. So any numbering that you find here, like 3, 4, 5, these are Saukaryartha. So there is no need for numbering in Gadyas. Okay? If you look at Kadambari and other Gadya Kavyam, there will be no numbering at all in Gadya Kavyams. If you look at Champu, again, there are no numberings, but some people prefer to put in the numberings of 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Saukaryartha. It's easier so that we can identify it again. The same exists with different editions of Viṣṇupurāṇam also. There is a Gorakhpur Gita Press edition. There is the what is this? There is the Vyakhyanam edition, which is, I think, Motilal Banarasdas, I'm not sure. So there are different kinds of editions also which can give different numberings. So if I say there are only 30 in one edition, there will be some 180 in another edition. So don't keep the numbering in mind at all. Let's just go over the content here. Maitreya Shruyatam, and I have split it here so that it's easy to read through. The text will just have it in one big Samastapadam with Sandhi, etc. Shruyatam Ayamaneka Yajvashura, without any hyphenated anything, because that's how manuscripts were written, and usually they will write it in that format with the Sandhi. For our study, I have split it in this manner. So if you go and look at the text, it will be in a completely different format. Maitreya Shruyatam Ayam Aneka Yajva Shura Veera Dhira Bhupala Alankritaha Brahmadihi Manava Vamshaha Manavaha Vamshaha. Listen to this Manu Vamsha starting from Brahma. This Vamsha which has been Alankrita, which is decorated by Bhupala kings, who are by many kings, Aneka, by many kings who have been Yajvanaha, Bhupalaha. So Yajva Nama, those who perform sacrifices. There have been kings who have performed sacrifices. There have been Shuraha, Veeraha, Dhiraha. Shuraha, who have shown their bravery in battle. Veeraha, those who are brave by nature. Dhiraha, those who are steadfast like yogi. Okay, so listen to this Manu Vamsha or Manavaha Vamshaha. This we say Manavaha nama human race, no? But apdi so Manoho ayam vamshaha iti Manavaha. That which starts from Manu. That is why this is called Manavaha. So translating it as human will not fit actually, because it goes to the when you say it comes from Brahma, then how can you say it is human? There is divinity in it also. So the best way to translate is, this is the lineage of Manu. Okay, तदस्य वंशस्य आनुपूर्वीं अशेष वंश पाप प्रणाशनाय मैत्रेय एतां कथां शृणु. So listing is boring is what we feel, but the purpose of this is अशेष वंश papa pranashanaya, in order to reduce or destroy our papam in our entire lineage. Putra pautradi api papa pranashanaya, we have to listen to this story. So tat asya vamshasya anupurvim katham shrunu. For the sake of destroying papam in the entire lineage, ashesha vamsha papa pranashanaya, he Maitreya, etam katham shrunu, listen to this story, which is anupurvi, which is continuous description of Manu's vamsha. Tasmat, hence. Okay, because this has been decorated by many kings who are great, either religiously, ritualistically, or bravely, or they are very spiritual. Listen to the kings. So because of that reason, it is also papa pranashanam. Tadyatha सकल जगताम आदिहि अनादि भूतः सः ऋग् यजुः सामादिमयः भगवान् विष्णुः तस्य ब्रह्मणः मूर्तं रूपं हिरण्यगर्भः ब्रह्माण्डभूतः ब्रह्मा भगवान् प्राक् बभूव. So the first सृष्टि of Vishnu is Brahma. यथा तद्यथा नाम सा कथा यथा वर्तते. So the story is as such. तद्यथा Sakala Jagatam Adihi, the beginning of all of this entire world is Vishnu. Anadi Bhutaha, Vishnu does not have an other Adi, he does not have a source here. So which means he is eternal. So Anadi Bhutaha Saha, he is an entity without any Adi, without a beginning. Rig Yajus Samadhi Maya, he is of the form of the three Vedas, Rig, Yajus and Sama. Bhagavan Vishnuhu. Tasya Vishnoho Brahmanaha, he is the Brahma. So Brahma here refers to that ultimate reality. So that Paramapurul, Paramburul, so Paramapurushaha Saha Tasya Brahmanaha Murtam Rupam, Murtam Nama Murti Rupam, Parichinnam Rupam, that which we can actually, or that which is confined. When you think of Vishnu, he is not confined by any form. He is Vibhu, he is spread over everywhere. He is all omnipresent, all of that. But if we want to confine him to saying this is the form which created everything in this world, then there is a limitation for that particular form. That is called Murtam Rupam or Murti Rupam, taking on a form. Parichinnam, so limited. Hiranyagarbha, he is known as Hiranyagarbha because he came out of the Brahmandam was in the shape of a huge egg which is golden color, and from which he also came out. So he is called Hiranyagarbha, Brahmanda Bhutaha. He is also of the form of this entire world, universe. Brahma, this becomes Chaturmukha Brahma. So Atra Brahma Ityeva. So you take it as the ultimate reality. Here Brahma becomes our Chaturmukha Brahma, who is the creator. Bhagavan Prak Babhuva, he was the first person who came into existence. Brahmanaha, from Brahma you had Daksha Prajapati, Dakshina Angushta Janma Daksha Prajapatihi Dakshasyapi Aditihi Aditehe Vivaswan Vivasvataha Manuhu. Now from Manu only our Manava Vamsha came into existence, because Manu is the first Raja who was responsible for the creation of the human beings on this earth. So Brahma created Daksha Prajapati from his right Angushta. Angushtam here is thumb. So from his right thumb, Dakshina Angushta Janma Yasya Saha. So Janma Yasya Saha. One whose birth was from the Dakshina Angushtat Janma Yasya Saha. Dakshina Angushta Janma iti Pullinga Padam. Janma is a Napunsakalinga Padam. Janma becomes a Pullinga Padam. So it is an adjective as a Bahuvrihi Samasa, it is an adjective to Daksha Prajapati. So from Brahma, Daksha Prajapati got his birth from the right thumb of Brahma. Dakshasyapi Aditihi. From Daksha was born Aditi. This is not our Deva. Yes, it is Aditi, the Deva mother of all the Adityas. So Aditehe Vivaswan. From Aditi was born Vivaswan, who is Surya. From Surya, Vivasvataha Manuhu. So from Surya came Manu. So we know that is why Rama is a Surya Vamsha, right? So Vivaswan and then Manu, Ikshvakuhu. From Manu we had 10 Raja. Ikshvaku was the king of, was the first king of Ikshvaku Vamsha or Manu Vamsha, Surya Vamsha. Okay, that is why we say Raghu is another king. Any great king or Kakutstha, for example. So those kings, the Vamsha will be called by that king's name, because he became famous because of some action that he performed. Here, for example, Vivaswan or Surya is the originator of the Vamsha, so we call it as Surya Vamsha. Ikshvaku was the first king who was born from Manu. Manu is the Adhipati of the entire Manvantara. So the first king would be the progenitor of the entire Vamsha. So the Vamsha will be named after him, Ikshvaku Vamsha. Manoho, to Manu were born Dashaputraha Babhuvuhu. There were 10 sons for him. Ikshvaku, Nriga, Dhrishta, Sharyati, Narishyanta, Pramshu, Nabhaga, Dishta, Karusha, Prishadra, Akhyaha. These are the names of the 10 sons. Ishtimcha Mitra Varunayoho Manuhu Putrakamaha Chakara. Now before these 10 were born, he performed a yagam towards to please Mitra Varuna. Mitra Varuna are two devatas who are conjoined, who are always mentioned together. They're like twin devatas madri vechikala. So Mitra Varuna yoho ishtim putrakamaha manuhu chakara. Wanting a son, Manu performed the yaga towards pleasing Mitra Varuna. Tatra tavat apahate hotuhu apacharat ila namakanya babhuva. So when the hota is the person who was performing the yagam, which is Manu. Tatra tavat apahate vikalpe jate hotuhu apacharat apahate sati. When there was a mistake that happened because of the apachara, because of the some mistake that the Manu did, Hota did, or the person who was the Purohita, when he did some apacharam, some mistake, because of that there was a change in the result. Apahate sati, vikalpe jate sati. When there was a transformation in the result of the yagam, a girl was born. So putra kamaha tari putri jata ite. So Ila nama kanya babhuva. He got a daughter called Ila. Saivacha mitra varunayoho prasadat sudyumnaha nama manoho putraha maitreya asit. He maitreya, sa eva, that Ila herself became Sudyumna by the prasadam of Mitra and Varuna. So Mitravaruna prasadat, by the grace of Mitravaruna, this girl Ila was transformed into a son called Sudyumna. Similar to how Amba became Shikhandi in that sense, okay? Because he will again become a woman. The story is given in detail in a different format in Devi Bhagavatam also. Sudyumnaha nama manoho putraha Maitreya asit. Punascha Ishvara kopat. Now, as soon as the girl was born, I think Manu prayed to Mitravaruna saying that I want a son, so the girl was transformed into Sudyumna. Punascha Ishvara kopat, again because of some anger, I'm not sure if that is mentioned in the Vyakhyanam. Let me just check. Akarotu putrakamastu manuhu ishtim anutpanneshu navasu putreshu eteshu. Okay, when these were not born. So Sudyumnasya prathamam kanyatvat rajya anarhatvat he again performed. Okay. Manupatnya kanyartham prartitasya hotuhu apacharat. So what Manu Patni did was, she again asked the Hota that she wanted a girl, and having that in mind, when the Hota started doing the sacrifice, see, the mind always matters, what you are thinking in your mind. Because of that, Kanya Sankalpa Rupat Apahate Vikalpe Jate. When that Kanya Sankalpam happened in the mind of the person who was performing the sacrifice, she was born as a girl. And then Ishvara Kopat. There, Mahadeva. Now, this is the story in Devi Bhagavatam, where Parameshwara was playing with, was spending time with Parvati in a forest there. And then in that forest, whichever man comes across, he would be transformed into a woman. So this Raja, Sudyumna, came there, and because of that Shapam, he was transformed into a girl again. That became Ilavila, and so Punascha Ishvara Kropat Stri Sati Sa Ila, who was Sudyumna, and when he was traveling in the forest where Parameshwara was with Parvati, and the moment someone enters into that forest, there is there is a border where if you cross that border, you will automatically become a woman, because Parvati was feeling very shy as she was with Parameshwara during that time, and she didn't want any Parapurusha to see her. So they would immediately become transformed into a woman. So this is the story in Devi Bhagavatam. Ishvara Kopat Stri Sati, when Sudyumna became a woman, Soma Sunoho Buddhasya Ashrama Samipe Babhrama, she went and roamed around the ashrama of Buddha, who is the son of Soma, Chandra. That is when the Chandra Amsha starts coming. Sanuragat cha tasyam buddhaha pururavasam atmajam utpadayamasa. So, Sanuragat, out of love towards her, Buddha fell in love with this woman, and she gave birth to Pururavas, who was the son of Buddha now. Okay? Utpadayamasa. Jate pitasmin amita tejobihi paramarshibhi ishtimayaha ringmayaha yajurmayaha samamayaha atharvanamayaha sarvavedamayaha manomayaha jnanamayo na kinchit mayaha annamayaha bhagavan yajnapurusha swarupi sudyumnasya pumstvam abhilashadbihi yathavad ishtaha tatprasadat ila punarapi sudyumnaha abhavat. So Ila, who became Sudyumna, who became Ila and gave birth to Pururavas, tasmin jate sati, when Pururavas was born, amita tejobihi paramarshibihi Sudyumnasya pumstvam abhilashadbihi yathavat ishtaha san tatprasadat ila api punaha Sudyumnaha abhavat. So Bhagavan yada rishibihi ishtaha tada tat prasadat bhagavat prasadat punaha ila sudyumnaha abhavat. So what happened now? When after Pururavas was born, so that became the start of the Chandravamsha there. You had Surya Vamsha, now Chandravamsha beginning is also known. So Amita Tejobihi Paramarshibhihi Abhilashadbhi Pumstvam Abhilashadbhihi. So all of the rishis who had a great tejas, they wanted the Sudyumna to become a Puman again so that he can come back and rule the world. Sudyumnasya Pumstvam Abhilashadbhihi. They were wishing to get the Pumstvam, get him back to his male form. These rishis, Ishtaha, Bhagavan Ishtaha. So Bhagavan was, that is, they performed a sacrifice towards Bhagavan Vishnu in order to, wishing to get the Pumstvam for Sudyumna again. Okay, so Yathavat Ishtaha, Vidhivat Ishtaha Asit Bhagavan. So Bhagavan was, there was a sacrifice according to rules to Vishnu here. And how was Vishnu? Everything is an adjective to Vishnu here. Ishtimayaha, he is the form of Yagam itself. Ringmayaha, he is the form of Rigveda. Yajurmayaha, form of Yajurveda. Samamayaha, he is also of the form of Samaveda. Atharvanamayaha, form of, and Sarvavedamayaha. All four Vedas are mentioned. Where is the other Veda? You can take it as the entire Veda format, not only the Rik, Yajus, Sama and Atharvana, which are actually the verses, but also the next section of Aranyaka and Brahmana and Upanishad Bhagam also. So when you say Sarva Vedamaya, when you mention Rigmaya, Yajurmaya, Samamaya and Atharvanamaya, it only encompasses the Samhita section. So Vedas are also divided into 4 bhagas. So Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka, and the last portion is Upanishad Bhagam. So when you say Rik, only the Samhita portion is in the format of Rik or verses. When we say Shloka, in Rigveda, the Shlokas are called Rik. In Yajurveda, the Shlokas are called Yajumshi. In Samaveda, it is called Sama. Like that. So that is only the Samhita portion. When you say Sarva Vedamayaha, it encompasses even the Upanishad Bhaga. So Vishnu is of the format of the entire Vedas. Manomiyaha, he is also the mind. That is Antaryamitaya Sayeva Manasaha Niyantritva Rupena Sayeva Vartate. So he is the controller of the Manas. Jnanamayaha, he is the form of the Jnanam or knowledge. Nakinchinmayaha. Knowledge and Nakinchinmayaha means something that is beyond our conception also. If we say there is nothingness, and that nothingness itself is Vishnu. Annamayaha is of the format of food also. Yajna Purusha Swarupi. He is of the form of the Yajna Purusha, the Devata who is responsible for the Yajna also. So Vishnu Yathavat Ishtaha. So these rishis performed a sacrifice towards Vishnu. Tat prasadat, Vishnoho prasadat, by the grace of Vishnu, Ila punarapi Sudyumnaha abhavat. Ila again became Sudyumna. She got her male form right now. Now it goes into the Vamsha. So tasyapi utkala gayat vinata samjnaha trayaf putraha babhuvuhu. There is a difference between Sridhara Swami Vyakhyana text and the other text, Gita Press book. I have mostly followed only the Gita Press book. I have not followed the other book. It doesn't matter. It's very similar only because that is a Parimal Parimal publication. This is a Gorakhpur edition. The names, there are a couple of differences with the names, so it's okay. It doesn't matter. So Utkala Gayata Vinata Samjnaha Trayaf Putraha Babhuvuhu. Sudyumna had 3 sons. Sudyumnastu Stri Purvakatvat Rajya Bhagam Nalebhe. Stri Purvakat. Because he was a girl before, he was a woman before, Rajya Purvam Stritvat, Stri Purvakatvat. Because he was a lady before, he was not eligible for Rajyam. He was not eligible to attain a portion of the Rajyam. Tat pitra tu Vasishta Vachanat Pratishtanam Nama Nagaram Sudyumnaya Dattam Tacha Asau Pururavase Pradat. See, so Tat Pitra, Sudyumna's father, Vasishta Vachanat, by the words, Sudyumna's father is Manu. So by the words of Vasishta, he gave a city called Pratishtanam. The name of the city is called Pratishtanam, and that he Sudyumnaya Dattam, he gave it to Sudyumna. Tat Pratishtanam Nama Nagaram Asau Sudyumnaha Pururavase Pradat. Sudyumna gave that Pratisthana city to Pururavas. Tad Anvayascha Kshatriyaha Sarve Dikshu Abhavan. His children, Pururavas' children, they became the Kshatriyas in all directions. There was a great lineage of Chandravamsha also, and those kings spread everywhere. Prishadrastu Manuputraha Guru Go Vadhat Shudratvam Agamat. Among the other 9 children. So Sudyumna was one of them, the 10 children. So, yeah. Inge vandu Sudyumna kadayadu. So among these 10, he is talking about Prishadra here. Okay. So what happened to Prishadra? Prishadrastu Manuputra Guru Go Vadhat, because he killed the Guruna Shaptaha Eva. So what happened is Vasishtena Gorakshane Niyuktaha. This Prishadra was he was also not eligible for the kingdom. That's what he is describing in this small episode here. Prishadra was appointed by Vasishta to protect the Go Rakshane. So Vasishta had Nandini in his ashrama. So he was appointed to protect that cow. Ratrau vraje pravishtam vyaghram jighasuhu pramadat tam jigana. So it may not be Nandini, it could be some other cow also. So he was appointed to protect that cow. During the night, the tiger entered into the vrajam, into the cow shed, and the king Prishadra, thinking that he was going to kill the tiger, he ended up killing the cow. So Guruna Shaptaha Shudratvam Apapa. So Agamatta. Because he killed he killed the cow of his guru, Vasishtha, he became a Shudra here. Shudratvam Agamat. Manov Putraha Karushaha. Karushat Karushaha Kshatriyaha Mahabala Parakramaha Babuvuhu. Manu's son was Karusha, and from Karusha, so we go from the back, I think, Karusha, Prishadra, right? So the next one is Karusha here. Karushaha. Karushat Karushaha Kshatriyaha. The Kshatriyas who were born to Karusha were called Karusha. They were very victorious. Mahabala Parakramaha. They were extremely strong. Dishta putrastu nabhagaha vaishyatam agamat tasmat balandhanaha putraha abhavat. Nedishta putraha iti uktam. In the other book you can find it as Nedishta or Dishta. So Dishta putraha nabhagaha. He became a Vaishya by activity. Karmana saha vaishyatam gataha. So he became a businessman instead of, so he was also not eligible for the kingdom. Tasmat nabhagat balandhaha putraha babhuva abhavat. So Dishta's son was Balandhana. Putra utpattehe uttarakalame vaishya. I'm reading from the Vyakhyanam here. So after the son was born, only then did this Dishta become a Vaishya. He became a businessman. Until then he was following the Kshatriya dharma. Because of that reason, the child who was born to him before he became a Vaishya, the Balandana retained his Kshatriyatvam there. So that was not aviruddham, it was not contradictory. So his Anvaya, Marutta, became a Chakravarti later. So Balandhanat Vatsapritihi Udarakirtihi Abhavat. Vatsapriti, who had a great fame, was born to Balandana. Vatsapritehe Pramshuhu Abhavat. Pramshu was born to Vatsapriti. Prajanihin irukku or Prajapatihi. Pramshoho ekaha abhavat. So Pramshu gave birth to Prajani or Prajapatihi. Tatascha, from Prajani you had Khanitraha. Khanitra's son was Chakshushaha. Tasmat cha Kshushaha. Chakshushat cha Atibala Parakramaha Vimshaha abhavat. Tataha Vivimshakaha. So Chakshusha, then Vimsha is the name of the king. After Vimsha was Vivimshakaha. Tasmat cha Khaninetraha. From him was born Kaninetra. Tatascha Ativibhutihi. Ativibhuti was the son of Kaninetra. Ativibhutehe Atibala Parakramaha Karandhamaha Putraha Abhavat. Karandhama was the son of Ativibhutehe, who had a great strength. Atibala Parakramaha. Tasmadapi Avikshit was the name of the son of Karandhama. Avikshitaha api Atibala Parakramaha Putraha Maruttaha nama abhavat. There was a son called Marutta from Avikshit. Yasya imau adhyapi shlokau giyet. Even now there are these two shlokas which are said about Marutta Chakravarti. Maruttasya yatha yajnaha tatha kasya abhavat bhuvi sarvam hiranmayam yasya yajnavastu atishobhanam. So tas Maruttasya yajnaha yatha asit tatha bhuvi kasya abhavat. The yajna that Marutta performed in a similar manner, who has performed such a great yajna as Marutta has performed in this bhuvi, in this bhumi? Nobody has. Sarvam yasya yajnavastu, the objects in his sacrifice were all atishobhanam, very beautiful, and sarvam hiranmayam, everything was golden. Amad indraha somena Dakshinabihi Dvijatayaha Marutaha Pariveshtaraha Sadasyaha cha Divaukasaha. In that yagam, Indra was pleased by Soma. Amat. Ma usually is a verb for measuring. But here Amat means so Ati Triptaya Hrishtaha Abhut iti vartate. So he became very happy. Triptim, he attained satisfaction. So Indra was satisfied by Soma. Dvijatayaha, the Brahmanas were satisfied by Dakshina, giving the Dakshina Kudukralya. So with that, Marutaha, all the Marudganas, there are 49 Marudganas, right? So they became the Pariveshtaraha, those who served food for everybody who came and ate in that sacrifice. Those who served food were Marutta. Imagine the speed with which they would serve food to everybody. Even before anybody could ask, they would serve, right? Who were the members of the yajna? Divaukasaha sadasyaha cha. So these two shlokas are being said even today about that king Chakravarti called Maruttaha. No other story is known about him, but these two stories are still popular. Okay. We'll stop with this. Narayanam namaskritya naranchaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vacham tato jayamudirayet.